Just hours after District Court Judge Mary Ellen Noreika rejected the terms of the government's unprecedented plea deal. Now, were prosecutors caught red-handed, giving the president's son a pass and insulate him against all future crimes? So for that, let's bring in distinguished professor at Touro University, Thane Rosenbaum, along with trial attorney and host of the Barack Lurie Show, Barack Lurie. And we're going to bring back in our special guest, director of senior initiatives at Freedom Works Foundation, Clara Del Villar. So Thane, we'll start with you. When both the DOJ and Hunter Biden's legal team arrived in court Wednesday, they thought this was a done deal, but Judge Noreika wasn't having it, saying, quote, "It seems to me like you are saying that just rubber stamp the agreement, Your Honor. This seems to me to be form over substance." She also couldn't get a straight answer out of the prosecution regarding whether Hunter has immunity for future crimes, potential FARA violations. For all the other non-lawyers watching out there like myself, how does this deal devolve so quickly?
So, Logan, in truth, both sides actually showed up ready to do the deal, right? They purportedly were saying, Your Honor, please approve the deal. We've agreed. Remember, most cases in America, criminal cases, are resolved by way of plea bargains. Very few of them go to trial. So what we saw is what normally happens. A plea bargain is a contract between both sides. You agree to do this, we agree to do this, and the judge approves it. What happened here, Logan, partly because this was the president's son, partly, who knows, maybe the judge was watching the whistleblower testimony the week before. Maybe she thought the whole world was watching, which they were. She decided to probe deeper into, are we sure that you both have an understanding of what this deal is? I want to make sure that you both agree to this deal that's on the table and nothing else. And when she probed a little further, she realized that, oh my God, they're now telling me that they don't agree at all. They didn't want to publicly admit it because they didn't want to acknowledge the DOJ that they had given a blanket immunity, but they created a blanket immunity. In that case, when she said, look, if you don't know what this deal is, I want you out of my courtroom. Come back when you do, all right? The second thing she discovered is the gun charge sort of disappeared in what was called the diversionary program, that if Hunter Biden doesn't take drugs for 2 years, the gun charge disappears. It's expunged from his record. But guess what? There was another piece to it, which is unconstitutional. They made her the judge in charge of deciding whether Hunter was in compliance with the deal. She doesn't work for the executive branch. She's in the judicial branch. This is not her business. And she said, don't make me do that work. That's for you to do. So she essentially said, if you can come back with a deal in 30 days, I'll approve it. She didn't reject it. They said at this point, now the question is, now that she exposed a sweetheart deal, will the Department of Justice come back with the same deal and say, we agree? I don't think they will, because I think they're embarrassed that the world now saw a preferential deal given to the president of the United States' son.
And Barack, Hunter Biden is now pleading not guilty. At this stage, he appears to be headed for trial with no plea deal in place. What kind of jail time could the first son be looking at if he's found guilty, and if they don't decide probation instead of jail time?
Well, I mean, he could certainly face jail time. The charges against him certainly warrant jail time. The question is how much, and there's a lot of discretion on the part of the judge in this context. But I want to go back to what Thane had said, and I think he's absolutely right. The whole point about this is that they really thought that this judge would rubber stamp these issues, and had the judge said, okay, that's fine, and she would have signed off on it, they both would have been very happy with it, including the immunity, the blanket immunity that Hunter Biden was enjoying. Let's make no mistake about this. What happened was that she exposed that this was a sweetheart deal indeed. And following the pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered rule, they ended up having to destroy this whole plea bargain idea in the first place. So this is the big issue for Hunter Biden. They don't know what they're going to do next. They will come back with a better plea bargain. It may very well be a felony conviction that he will agree to with probation. That's my guess, because they really have to sweep this under the rug one way or the other. They cannot have this issue crop up and have all sorts of accounting issues involved, the FARA issues involved. All these things will come up if indeed they go through trial. They can't afford that.
And Thane, as Barack alluded to, these aren't the only potential legal woes Hunter Biden could be facing. I mean, he admitted to the judge that he was taking money from Ukrainian and Chinese energy companies. His longtime business partner, Devon Archer, set to appear before the House Oversight Committee tomorrow, where it's been reported he will testify that Hunter Biden put his father on the phone with his overseas business associates. What legal implications could this have for President Biden? And is there enough here for a separate probe into his finances?
So, Logan, I think Barack is right. I think tonight, if you're Hunter Biden, you're not sleeping because of tomorrow's testimony. Because I think at this point, he would be prepared to say, I will plead guilty to felonies on the tax evasion, but do not raise any of my failure to register as a foreign agent. Because the minute we go down the road of my failure to register as a foreign agent, that opens up all of these overseas business deals, all of the influence peddling. Remember, who's he peddling? He's peddling his father. His father was the vice president and then the president of the United States. I think he would say, I am now prepared to plead guilty to felonies because I'm afraid my entire family is now going to be exposed if this continues. And I want to at least get this thing off the table. It won't make a difference. Congress is going to go forward. Republicans in Congress are going to want to investigate. That's what Congress does. Purportedly, they investigate. And this could, in theory, if it ties the Biden family, and especially President Biden, who said, I've had no relationship in my son's business dealings, and it turns out that he has benefited from it, and there's even allegations of bribery, of course, impeachment is on the table. So you can see why Hunter would say, I'm prepared to plead guilty to felonies now, as long as you don't bring up the overseas business dealings, because that will expose my entire family and especially my father.
Yep, both parties are also due back in court before the end of the summer. Thane Rosenbaum, Barack Lurie, Clara Del Villar, thank you all for being here today.